Welcome to the Log Time Podcast. It's the end of a season, so it's time to wrap up. This time around, we'll be talking about our faves that we kept up with for the winter 2020 season. There were some massive power hits this season, so let's not even waste any time here. I mean, let's just start talking about them.
Winter 2020. Where does one begin with this?
Don't start our tradition.
Don't do it.
Don't start our tradition.
No, you've already broken it. You've already ruined it. Okay.
Where do we start, guys? Every fucking season.
Guys, what do we do with this season?
Winter 2020 was actually a pretty good anime season. Surprisingly.
Okay, let's just get it all out of our system. Are there any other tropes that we can toss out there
for the bingo board?
You know, I really didn't think that Winter 2020 was going to be that great of a season, but here we are.
You know, Winter 2020 is the masterpiece of our generation.
Yeah, we'll just
there we go.
Keep going, yeah. No, I liked Winter 2020. There was several shows that I was actually able to keep up with, which I usually don't. I usually only do like 3, but this time I was keeping up with 5, 6, like 7.
Look at you, boyo!
Hell
yeah!
Look at this guy. He's
it's amazing
magical.
what a fucking global pandemic can do to one's anime watching habits.
I know.
It's funny how that goes, right? Yeah.
All of a sudden, I'm home like all the time.
Yeah, it's wait a minute, my life didn't change at all. Oh no.
Boo. Boo.
Well, what'd you get up to? What'd you watch? What did you watch? Oh my gosh.
Are you having a stroke?
It's fine. It's past.
Usually
actually is that a standard too? I feel like we've done that one before too.
Yes.
So are you having a stroke? Okay.
So
cool.
what did you
I'm glad
watch?
that we're
What did I watch?
Damn.
Anime.
Thank you for...
I'm gonna murder both of you in a fucking alleyway. What did y'all think about Darwin's Game?
Darwin's Game, especially as like the last show that I watched, is still super fresh on my mind. I thought it was actually really great. I don't have a lot of shows to compare it to because I don't usually watch those type of death game kind of things.
Well,
yeah, and well,
I interrupted you. Sorry.
No. I interrupted you. Please go.
Okay. I would say that as someone that does have some experience with the death game genre of anime, Darwin's Game is about as good as it gets.
Yes, I would agree.
That's basically the moral of the story here.
I don't have, like I said, I don't have anything to compare it to, but I felt like maybe the big deciding factor in this compared to what other death game shows would be was the fact that this one is actually a lot about cooperating. And I don't know if that's true for the other shows.
So it kind of depends, but like there's a lot of death game, battle royale kind of stuff that, I don't know, kind of skirts the line between, unsteady alliances. There's kind of a through line of that in some of the bigger ones, like, I'd say Mirai Nikki is pretty popular, like the textbook or the kind of like baseline for what you're looking to meet for that. There's some tenuous relationships there. I would say that Eden of the East actually falls into this category as well, even though it's like,
I didn't think about that.
Yeah, like it's not a violent death game sort of thing, but it's still the same premise.
Yeah.
It's so many people with a set of rules that have to, play within these set guidelines, and the penalty is death. So I'd say that counts.
I didn't think about that, but you're right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So I don't know. Like Darwin's Game really surprised me because, on the surface, and I think we probably talked about this at the beginning of the season cast. It really leads hard in like previews and the promotional art as like, this seems like a really stupid fucking edgelord kind of show.
Mm-hmm.
And while it is that, it's very good. And I don't know. I would say Darwin's Game is pretty fucking dumb in a lot of ways.
Oh,
like,
I mean, yeah.
I'm not going to sit here and
Oh,
say
yeah.
that Darwin's Game is necessarily like an inherently like smart, groundbreaking show or anything like that.
Like, the protagonist, the motherfucker, by the end of the season becomes John Wick and initiates the Continental across, like, a good section of Tokyo. Like...
Okay, but here's the thing, though. That's one of the things that was the coolest to me about this show.
Oh, no, I thought that was cool as fuck. I'm just saying, like, you can have your, like, just absolute stupid moments where it's like, okay, all of a sudden this dude became a badass, but it's like, but it's fun. I'm having fun right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It does a really good job of staying within a lot of what makes this genre of show enjoyable to watch, which, like, its action sequences go absolutely, like, balls to the walls.
Yeah.
They're a delight to watch. The show is just gorgeous throughout.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, having, you know, pretty flashy action sequences does not make a good show by itself. It cannot just stand on that. And thankfully, Darwin's Game excels also in, surprisingly enough, character development and story development, and also just straight up world building, because the idea of a death game that is actually just a fucking mobile game and trying to work within all the conventions of a mobile game makes it surprisingly accessible. And, you know, it seems as believable as a death game can be in a very weird twist.
Yeah, and I also thought that the, like, the surrounding idea of, like, we don't know exactly what's going on, but there are obviously some people that are profiting off of this death game, where it's basically the rich are just sending these people to die, and for their own enjoyment, and, like, that's interesting, and I'm very excited to see if, like, a second season would go into that.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And
yeah, I was just gonna say that you're going on about the action, but yeah, they did bring down a whole hotel building. So 40-story building.
Yes, they
that
did.
Definitely happened.
It was gnarly as hell.
That was
It was
really
so
cool.
because it, like, the first part of it was basically like the first Die Hard movie, where it's like, shit, I'm trapped in a hotel with all these killers. but then like after a while they're like, all right, now the hotels are trapped, time to pay them back, and then they just, like, collapse the whole fucking building.
They go from a superpower Die Hard alternate universe fanfic to be like, actually, I want to make my own thing.
Yeah.
Deuces.
Yeah. It was good. It was really good.
We had there was a really good, like, escalation, I think, in terms of, like, the plot.
Yes.
Where it started off like, oh yeah, okay, so we got a mobile game, we got people trapped in this game, this is a death game, and you know, you got, like, a random ass panda thing chasing after him, and then it went from that to, okay, trapped in a hotel, you know, global event, top only survive, and then, you know, you got you obviously get, like, all the camaraderie, which, as you mentioned, Zach, was something I don't think I've seen in a death game anime. I don't want to say I've not seen it, but it operates very functionally different than it did in this
definitely
There's
not
actual,
to this
like,
scale.
Yeah, there's an actual friends list and clans in a death game. That's really interesting.
Which, I mean, like, with most of the things, like, again, Mirai Nikki and Eden of the East, for instance, any kind of alliances are just on a sort of, like,
merit basis.
Trust system.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. As opposed to here, where it's like you have a whole slew of people that can become a larger alliance, which is, again, for this genre, very cool to see.
Mm-hmm.
It's not much really different functionality-wise from, like, an MMO anime, where you have that sort of idea.
I was actually going to bring that up later when I want to talk about BOFURI, because BOFURI honestly has a lot of similarity to this.
Yeah, especially where she just mows down a bunch of people.
She
and
does,
it's just a
though.
bloodbath.
With a light machine gun? Does that happen?
Yes, it does.
What?
We'll get
Okay.
to it.
Okay, but
Okay.
so yeah, Darwin's Game, like as far as death game anime goes, good. Like
Yeah,
honestly,
like-
I would not even recommend Mirai Nikki anymore. Like this is you got to watch this. Like this is just
Would-
objectively better.
You would consider
Yeah,
this
honestly,
the new
like-
standard.
This should
Yeah,
be
if-
the new
if-
standard.
It really should be, because again, it's not just a cool, dumb, edgy battle royale action show. Like, it actually looks to establish a good sense of character development,
Mhm.
and believable world building.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that I keep coming back to the most. Like, the way that they actually establish how Darwin's Game itself works and how it actually interacts with the world surrounding it is just so cool. And I mean, like, obviously some of it was definitely ass pulls, but it was the least ass pully of a lot of stuff like this I've seen.
It's well done enough that you stop trying to figure out, like, okay, but scientifically, how would you explain these powers that we're giving these people? It's like, that doesn't matter. Does not even
I don't even give a
fucking
shit
matter.
on a scientific level.
Don't
It's
even
just like-
care.
It's just like, I don't even have to bother with suspending my disbelief for
Yeah,
this. It's
yeah,
just
yeah,
like,
yeah.
okay, yeah, this is fun. I'm going to watch it.
Yeah.
And that's what it boils down to. It is consistently fun to watch, and it doesn't feel like cringy at any point.
It also definitely balances those really fucking dark moments with some, like, genuine brevity. So I appreciate that.
Mhm.
It's great. Probably biggest surprise of the season for me.
Yeah. Definitely. I didn't expect it to get like to the point that it did. Like some of those later episodes, like I didn't expect like that character development like to happen at all. Like that was
I
from
know.
the protagonist. I mean,
Yeah.
that was
Kaname is best boy.
that was crazy. Like
He's
Yeah.
as like weirdly like super intelligent as he is, he's insanely believable to be this character that went from I just need to survive to I need to make sure like me and everyone I love survives. And so like because of that he becomes this person that's like much stronger. As it
Yeah.
goes on.
I'm just sitting here and I'm thinking about it, and I'm just thinking, man, I hope this gets a second season.
I hope so too, especially with that
I'd
little
watch the
teaser
hell
after the
out of a
credits.
second season.
I was like,
Yeah.
ooh.
Oh, yep.
yeah, I'm there for Darwin's Game. I really am.
Yep.
For a lot of reasons that I wasn't expecting to be, I suppose.
Yeah.
Big mood. Highly agree.
I mean, you know what's also a big mood though?
Huh.
Toilet-Bound Hanako-kun.
Oh god. Don't even talk about mood for Hanako-kun.
The
I felt so many
aesthetic.
emotions with this show.
Yeah, like everything
Oh my
about
God.
this.
So Hanako-kun was pretty interesting, because I had watched the first couple episodes and pinned it for a completely different show than what it was, and then I basically, by the end of it, I was like, "Wow, this is actually really good." Like I didn't know it beforehand. Like I was just like, I knew it in my mind. I was like, "This is not a bad show," but then it proved itself, and I was like, "Wow, this is actually really good. Like I actually like this a lot. Like why was this not even on my radar, sort of thing?"
Yeah.
And I was
This
like,
is
missed out.
I
Almost.
have a feeling that it was more than just you that might have passed on this show initially.
Yeah, there were a lot of folks that have been really sleeping on this show this season. I
So
saw a lot of folks on Twitter be like, "Wait, what the fuck? Why haven't I been watching this exactly?
Yeah.
What the fuck?" Personally, and again, this revelation did happen in the midst of our beginning of the season cast, but like I was hooked from the start of this show just by its aesthetic and the way it kind of told its story through visual components like the manga panels and such.
Yeah.
And I was kind of sold from the get-go when I found out that this was the director of Scump's Wish.
Yeah,
And I was like, I'm in. I'm all in.
when we found
Give
that
it to
out, I
me.
was like, oh, a lot of these artistic choices make a lot of sense now.
You mentioned like that was a surprise. I found this out. I think you did mention it in the first episode podcast, but I don't know where my brain was, because I was watching this, and on episode 9 I was like, wow, there's a lot of similarities between this and like the Scum Swish like paneling. And I was like,
it just like left your
oh my
mind
God.
for a second. Yeah.
Like it had left my mind for like the first 2/3 of the show, and then I was like, wow, I wonder if that's the same director as Scum Swish, because it's very paneled like that. and then by the way, if for those that actually want to see that, like if you go watch the Scum Swish, like the first 15 seconds of that opening, and then watch the first 30 seconds of the Hanako-kun opening, it's right there. Like it's plastered in the opening. Like absolutely.
Yep.
It's just but man, there's just so much about this show that's just so good. Like I mean, I know we mentioned it before, but the animation just amazing. Art style, great.
The art style is so good.
This show has my favorite art style of this season.
It's such a wonderful, like, twisted Alice in Wonderland kind of thing. Like, it's very fairy tale, but it also is, like, just so darkly tinged every single time that you look at it. Even in moments in which it's, like, just our main character in her classroom. I'm just like, something feels off and unsettling, but at the same time, it's cutesy.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's hard to pin down a show that does the kind of cute occult, or, like, the kind of delightful, whimsical occult thing well. Because there's a lot of things that, try to pull that off, and it's just kind of, like, passable. It's okay.
Yeah, it becomes like wrapped up in its own self, or just becomes too edgy or something like that.
Yeah, very much so. But like Hanako-kun's style is so distinctive, and I cannot place any other series that I have seen that has this kind of aesthetic to it.
Mm-hmm.
And it is incredible. It is so solid, beat for beat. It is beautiful every shot. Like, I cannot think of a moment when I was watching the show that I was not just delighted by what I saw on screen. Because there can be some horrific shit, but it is always in this kind of strikingly beautiful way.
Yes, yeah.
I don't know how else to describe it. It is consistently gorgeous. And I think saying it's consistently gorgeous is still somehow underselling it.
Well, I think because the visual, like, the visuals are so unique unto themselves, but then you stack on top of that, like, just the absolutely interesting and fascinating story of what's going on in this school.
Yeah. Because I think we've had, I've seen a fair number of shows here and there that have worked with, like, there's some, weird, mystical, occult rumors surrounding this school, or surrounding this town, or this, that, or the other. And, that's all well and good, but again, it takes a certain kind of show to take that story and actually make something interesting out of it. And the way that Toilet-Bound Hanako-kun takes the idea of the occult and rumors and the development of those ideas, it just does so much neat stuff with it.
Would you say that this show, like, in its entirety, if you get the whole package, like the art, the animation, the storytelling, would you say that it's just so far from being bound to a toilet?
I knew there was a bad joke in there somewhere.
Yeah, I did too.
I knew it was coming. It
still hurts.
Yeah, it was still really bad. Like, it was actually worse than I expected it. Not in terms of, like, I guess, like, just the quality was bad. Not that the joke
it was a non-joke.
Yeah, it was like a fact. It was like a fact. It wasn't really a joke.
It's not even a fact. It's a shit post.
Like a toilet,
like garbage
shit post?
left your mouth.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
It's good to know that I don't have any friends. All right. What's up next?
No.
I'm not done.
Like,
I'm not done with this.
Okay.
One thing I want to talk about in Hanako-kun that was actually really cool was I like the whole, like, occult thing like you guys were talking about, but I'm also glad that it didn't just stay with, like, this whole, like, we're going to explore a different wonder every week. Like, that's interesting.
Yeah, oh my God.
I like that idea, but it went beyond that. and took that idea and kind of made it like work together. Like, and by that I mean like the wonders, like they went over the different ones and they kind of like started melding together in like this more cohesive like way that with the story.
Everything builds in a way.
Yes.
It's not a monster of the week thing. It is, okay, we discussed this arc, and now this is going to be a consistent part of the story going forward.
And
we are incorporating this.
Yeah. Anytime that a new character comes along, that character is consistently still in the show up until the end.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. And I kind of can't believe I'm going to reference like the Sagrada Reset podcast that we did. But kind of in that same way, it works to consistently build a believable, living, thriving world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of all these different boundaries and wonders and that kind of thing.
And honestly, I think I'm starting to like really enjoy anime that does this. Like, I think, like, because you guys know my major complaint about like 4 comas and all that shit. But honestly, maybe what I don't like is episodic anime that's strictly episodic. Like, maybe I just don't like that. And I'm starting to, like, realize that, like, throughout this season. Like, because there's other anime we're going to talk about, like, Jewel of Richard's another example. But, Hanako-kun, I think, is a great example of, like, what I like to see from shows like that. Not saying that episodic anime don't have their place or whatever, but I just found that I personally like this better because it feels like everything has a purpose.
Yes. There is no episode that feels unused or that feels like it does not belong in some way. Every episode, even the ones that, you know, some other folks might look at, this is filler. Everything has some aspect to it that helps to build the story or build a character in some way that builds a story as a whole.
Right.
I mean,
everything has a purpose.
Fuck, it's the last one, right? That's the mermaid one?
Yes.
Yeah, and even that one, the whole entire story just seems like another throwaway, like, oh, okay, this is episodic. But then by the end of it, you suddenly realize that, like, it's just this deciding factor. It's this one incident that finally becomes the deciding factor of our two main characters growing closer together and trusting each other with their secrets. And that's really good. That's really, really good.
Hanako-kun and Yashiro, best couple season. Almost.
So good.
Almost.
Star. Asterisk.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely agree. It's the weird, cutest horror show that I've ever seen, and I don't even know how to describe it in any way other than that, because I don't even know if there's a word for that. It's quirky. I like it.
It is very much its own thing. And it sounds cliche to say this, but it's true. I have not watched anything like Toilet-Bound Hanako-kun. And if you have not watched it yet, you're doing yourself a disservice.
Also,
this is easily top 3 of the season for me.
Also, it's such a small thing about the art style, but those thick as fuck black outlines for the characters are just, it seems wonderful to me. It's like if you got a whole bunch of like stickers that you wanted to put up on a notebook, and they're just like really cutesy stickers. It's like, I don't know, there's something about that aesthetic that I just love so much.
Yeah, they really make Yashiro's daikon legs stand out.
I knew someone was gonna go there. I actually, the funny thing was I thought that's where Kyle. That's where I thought Kyle was going, and then Zach ended up going there. So that was a plot twist in my brain.
It's such a stupid joke. It's so dumb.
I just always felt bad for her because she's getting bullied by everybody, even like people that are dead and gone and had no relation to her in her life. They're making fun of this girl.
They're just like, what? I like how they all come to the. I don't like anything about this joke because it's horrible, but what I do find funny is that somehow everybody individually has come to this conclusion. Like,
yep, you got fucking radish legs, girl.
Poor girl.
So mean.
Poor Nana. Oh, God. Oh. One last thing. It has the most fucking ballin' OP. It's
That
not the
OP.
OP of the season, but oh my god, it goes so hard.
That's a
Like,
lot of good
holy
OPs
shit.
this season. God.
Oh,
It's been
dude,
several
no
days, and that
fucking
shit is
kidding.
still stuck in my head. Like, oh
Yeah.
gosh.
I have it in my workout rotation. It's oof.
It's pretty good though. I mean I agree.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I'm done with my one last thing. Does anyone else have one last thing?
I'm good. I'm good on it now.
I was pretty much done after I got bullied, so.
Is that all we have to do? Is we just bully you?
And then I
And
shut
then-
up, possibly.
Oh, that's gonna make this a lot easier. Sweet. Okay.
Oh my god. It's horrible.
I love you, Kyle. So to take a departure from the last two that we've talked about, the decidedly more chill Case Files of Jeweler Richard.
You say chill.
You say
Except
chill.
for when
They
it's
got-
not chill. Except
Did
for
you
when
see
he
the
goes
last
super
episode?
melodrama.
Did you
There
see,
was
the
no
last
chill there.
4 episodes?
Oh my god.
Hey, dude, remember when I almost married you in a separate country just so that I could take the family fortune?
All I wanted was for these two dudes to fucking kiss.
Oh,
You all had the gall.
I thought you were gonna.
Y'all had the.
I thought you were
They
gonna
had
end
the
it with.
gall.
I just wanted these two to fuck, and I'm like, yeah, no, I did too.
I thought that's where you were going with it too, but I was like, I mean, yeah.
I can say that, sure, fine. All I want was these two dudes to fuck. And they have the gall to be like, haha, what if you married me to circumvent this? And y'all, this show can tease that. They can tease it. But I cannot get so much as like a brushing of some lips. I cannot even get like just a lusty glance. Like, what the fuck is wrong with this show?
It's so good.
How dare it?
It's so good that he's like, oh no, I was dating a girl, but what if?
I wouldn't fuck you, unless. I didn't expect to be this ride or die for a show about jewel appraisals.
I straight passed on it because I was like, okay, it looks like it's a mystery.
I know you did.
It looks like it's a mystery, and I like mysteries, but I was just like, I'm gonna try some other stuff this season. And then, by your recommendation, I was like, fuck, man. Even 2 episodes in, I'm sold. So.
Yeah, there's just something so interesting about the Case Files of Jeweler Richard, in that it is definitely kind of a slow burn episodic drama thing for the first, I'd say half the series.
Yeah, first half.
Or so, half season. But once you hit that second half, things start to go off the rails pretty quick in terms of, further character development and other sorts of shit. It goes from being well, let's find out who had this jewel, or, why is this thing significant to you? Or, what awful life event happened to you for this customer to, try to sell this jewel off, or something like that, to getting actual development out of our main characters, Seigi and Richard, to being like, hey, Seigi, why do you almost stab your dad? Or, hey, Richard, why does your whole family fucking suck?
Accurate.
Yeah.
Hey, Richard, your brother basically kidnapped me as soon as I got into a foreign country.
Aren't there laws against this? Don't worry. We'll take care of it.
They're just screw the laws, we have money. That's his whole family.
This is Seto Kaiba rules now.
Can you imagine if you're sitting in...
Oh my god.
Can you imagine if you're sitting in fucking first class with the rich-ass motherfucker, and he literally just says to you, no, this is Seto Kaiba rules now. Oh shit.
Yeah. That's actually really terrifying.
Yeah.
Okay, note to self, never ride first class.
Yep, that's all you gotta do.
With someone you don't know. That's the specific thing. That's the indicator.
I guess, thinking about the Case Files of Jeweler Richard, I really enjoyed its first half, where it was a very...
I did. Yeah, I did too.
Slow-paced, episode by episode, just kind of... I wouldn't say... mystery-ish sort of thing, I guess, but it was more just like a character study.
Extreme introspection.
Yes, and that was delightful, because I can't really think of the last show that I watched that delved into that degree of introspection.
Death Parade.
It was really fucking interesting and engaging to watch.
Kyle's right. I thought about this when I was watching. I'm like, this show's kind of like a lot like Death Parade.
It's a mystery.
Yeah,
it's a mystery,
it is.
but the mystery isn't, who done it. The mystery is, who is this person? And that's wonderful. I love that kind of introspective shit.
What a good way to think about that.
Yeah.
I didn't even consider that, but yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
This has a lot of Death Parade energy to it.
And both of them are fucking fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's very interesting. But yeah, I mean, I enjoyed the first several episodes of the show too. I'm glad it just didn't go with that all the way through, because where it went was amazing, and I was like, wow, I expected the series to end on this point, not to ramp up and then exceed that point. That was blew me away yet again.
Yeah, that's one of the cool things about the show, in that its slow burn first half sets up a lot of nice small character development to help us understand our core cast, so that we can go balls to the walls in the second half and go into some really deep, really interesting character development.
Yeah.
And some surprisingly dramatic and surprisingly believable depths of suffering and angst, and just, I did not expect our core cast to have these kinds of tragic histories that they do.
Yeah, it was really hard for me, because the last 4 episodes is this, you have 2 different arcs where it's one is about Richard, and then one is about Segi. And I got done with the Richard arc, and I was like, fuck, there's 2 episodes left. That would have been a season finale for any other anime.
I thought the same thing.
It was incredible.
Yeah, it's where do we go from here?
Yeah, and then the last 2 episodes, I was like, damn, that's intense. It's so dramatic, and it's in the greatest way. It's so introspective of our own characters and all of their weaknesses and all the feelings that they've left buried for so long. And it's it's so good.
Which I guess that's what the show was doing the whole time. It was taking feelings that were buried within people and exploring them via gemstones.
Right, but then the lens was turned on its own main characters.
Yeah.
And it was so good.
The payoff in this show was absolutely immense. And I don't think that there are a few other shows this season that have aired that had this level of emotional payoff for me, because this one was just such a slow build and a slow build and a slow build, and then it just crescendoed in those last few episodes, and I was like, oh my god, I have transcended. Yes.
Yeah.
I've transcended. I now understand God, and I am playing poker with him on Tuesday.
Yeah. I liked the show when it started. I did not expect to like the show as much as I did by the end of this.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's
incredible.
I feel basically the same way. And again, another show I didn't even watch until literally today. And I was just like, oh, well, I know what this show is going to be like. It's going to be episodic. It's going to be like this, and it's going to be good, but I'd probably get bored of it. And then I didn't get bored with it, and I was all wrong. So anyway, thanks for defying my expectations. Thanks for getting me to watch this show.
Zach got them good recommendations.
Zach got
that good.
Yeah, Zach got them good.
Yeah, I apparently need to trust Zach's recommendations more.
Motherfucker, I've already been trusting his recommendations.
Okay.
Yeah, so next up, both of you watch Handshakers.
There we go. See, there's a good idea.
Fuck off. Fuck you, and fuck everything you stand for.
You said you'd trust me.
Yeah, but if you betray my trust immediately, fuck off.
I will only watch Handshakers if someone holds my hand during it that's not Kyle.
I will only watch Handshakers if I'm like 4 glasses into some gin.
Hey,
fuck off.
Matt, you're back in state. We can make this happen.
Okay, you better.
I'm not Kyle.
You better get the Handshakers party going. Serious.
You can just have me on like a Discord call, and I'll just be like a blubbering drunken idiot, just being like, "This show sucks."
God. Okay.
Yeah.
So we want to do we want to talk about Eizouken?
If you didn't,
I'd like to talk about
question,
Eizouken.
Yeah, if you didn't ask me that question, I would not edit this podcast. You would have to do it all yourself. Fuck you.
Most importantly, before we get into that, just remember, keep your hands off Eizouken. Social distancing.
Social.
This is what we've devolved into.
Oh, fuck.
Thanks.
Oh.
Yeah. Quarantine's a hell of a drug.
Oh, I'm crying, man.
That was a pretty good one. I'm pretty.
Oh,
I actually didn't think
God.
you'd react like that. I figured that was an old joke.
Oh, pat yourself on the back, you bastard. Oh, yeah, quarantine fucking sucks shit. Help. Eizouken, I think.
Hey, let me go ahead and say, you were talking about best relationship of the season. Is Kanamori and money.
Yep.
Yeah. You know what?
That's it.
Can't even deny that.
We don't have to talk about the show anymore. Like, that's it. Kanamori's best. All we have to do to talk about the show is that meme on Twitter is just Kanamori with a stock line just says stonks.
Stonks, yeah.
Stonks.
That's it.
Everyone knows what we're talking
That's
about.
the one.
We've seen
Looking
it.
at the stocks, yeah.
Yep. That's our thumbnail for the YouTube version of the podcast. That's it. Just stonks.
Yes, actually, please. But like, no, legit. Like, this show, we needed this show, I think, in like the anime industry as a whole. Like, that's as dramatic as I want to make it about this show. This is an incredible production.
Eizouken's fucking great.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm so happy to see this, especially with this being the next Science Saru production I saw after Devilman Crybaby, which is the most hilarious development I think possible. Just from, going from masterpiece edgy demon fuckfest to 3 wholesome dimwits. It's Ed and Nettie, but with
Yes,
anime.
It really is, though.
And God, I am just so delighted by Eizouken, and I kind of almost feel like it's a crime that we only got 12 episodes of it. But at the same time,
is a crime, though.
Okay, but hear me out.
Yeah.
I think only having 12 episodes of Eizouken was the best thing to do for it.
Yes.
Yes.
I agree.
Because here's the thing. I love the hell out of Eizouken for a lot of reasons. One, obviously, animation. Like, duh, that's the whole point of the fucking show. It's fantastic. It's phenomenal. Its sense of style and place and world is spot on, and the show would not be what it is without it. And it fucking knows it. Its characters, our core 3, are absolutely incredible. They're delightful. They're believable. They're so much fun to watch, and they're so much fun to watch them grow as people. And
they're also not in any way, shape, or form like any trope that we had really seen before.
Yeah, no, it's very much its own thing. But regardless of how much I love this show and how much I would watch 100 episodes of this, the 12 episodes that we got of Eizouken are fucking perfect. But the pacing is great. Their development is great. The way that we see these girls grow as, part of an animation team, and how they develop their own sense of like personal critique, developing a story, and problem solving is just so well condensed in this 12 episode set. And I think anything else would really kind of just be milking it at this point.
Let me counter that with another option.
Okay.
2 years from now, the crew gets back together with an interesting idea. All three of our main characters, but now it's 4 years later, they're in college and in a circle, and they're deciding to do the same thing.
We can't do Genshiken.
Yeah, but this would be so much fucking better than
Genshiken. But we can't do Genshiken.
Because besides, they're about
we can't do Genshikazegan.
But them in college doing this kind of shit too, that would be fucking great. And dealing with all of the various different laws and various different ideas behind college compared to high school.
Okay,
they would have to deal with, Kanamori would be able to make so much money.
Matt, tap in, please.
Let me counter this. What?
Thank you.
So, I'm trying to think. I don't know. I feel like the show covered all the core themes already, though.
That's the thing. I
don't think it would add anything. I think it would probably lessen the value of the franchise.
My thoughts exactly.
Only if, because it would have to be a Last of Us Part 2. It would be one of those things where they decided to make a second series only because they actually had something to add to the initial series. And if they didn't have anything to add, fuck it, that's never going to be made.
I mean, yeah, potentially. But so, the fact of the matter is, this is an adaptation of a manga that is still currently running. So, obviously there is more of this story to tell. But the fact of the matter is, for this as a piece of animation, in and of itself, to tell its own set story, I feel like, Matt, I would agree with you, it said everything it really needs to say. Because we have gone through, the development of a team. We have gone through, getting over one's ego. We have gotten through, a lot of the major steps of the actual, animation process. And I really, I feel like it would kind of be more of the same in terms of this. And for, a very long-running manga series, I'd read the shit out of that. But for this being an anime, I feel like it's different.
It said its piece.
It has a different weight to it. It has a different pace.
Yeah. I didn't mean to over.
No. You're good, but you make a good point there. It's kind of made its piece, and I feel like what we got is what we should get.
I think that's particularly true, given the fact that this is an anime about making really, really artistic animation. I think the fact that it was able to express everything that it wanted to express about animation within 12 episodes, we don't really need another second season. I just would like it.
Yeah, that's the thing. And that's what it boils down to. I say all this we don't need a second season, but if there's a second season, you fucking bet your ass I'd watch it.
Yeah, it's kind of like that sort of thing, I suppose. I would really hope that, and the problem with second seasons realistically is that, there's so much that can change from a season 1 to a season 2, and it would be it would have to be the same team, and it would have to be if it was the same team, I would put confidence in them to make something to serve as a second season, but just the concept of a second season in of itself of this show, and just throwing that on the table as it is, I don't know. I don't feel that confident about it, but I could be convinced with if it met the right criteria. I guess as Zach said, I would still watch it if it met these criteria.
Let me
can you imagine if we got a second season and it wasn't Science Saru manning the helm?
Oh gosh,
I'd abandon shit.
Yeah.
Are you fucking kidding me? No.
Yeah,
absolutely
it would be
not
wrong. Yeah.
Let me pose this then. Instead of a second season, I think that this should be a standard in the animation industry that people should look to, and it should be their inspiration. In the same way that Eizouken wore its heart on its sleeve about their inspirations, this should be the inspiration for what somebody else should make. An inspiration for another anime that follows that follows similar ideas.
Yeah, like I think I get what you're saying now. I think you're just saying that Eizouken just needs to like making more anime in the lines of Eizouken, I think is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Doesn't have to be the same plot, but the all of the ideas that we have here, the incredibly unique characters, to this idea of like a fantastical world that is more watercolor painted and hand drawn compared to the actual world. To just like the world building of just this really strange and interesting city that these girls take place in, to the actual story of them trying to make their own anime. Like, all of those could be great for an inspired work. And like, this show just does such an amazing job of pulling all of those together into such a beautiful and like almost perfect package.
Yeah. I do like this idea. Unfortunately, I also feel like in the back of my mind, I hear the commenters out there going, "Oh, it's just copying Eizouken," and then I don't know. It's just like I think your idea comes from a good place, but I don't know if it'd be perceived like that by a lot of people realistically.
I mean, honestly, would you say that any of the works that these girls made in this show were necessarily like, oh, they're so unique, nothing has ever been done like that before? Because no.
Well, no, but that's the point.
Exactly.
Like, they're high school girls, like, doing their kind of inspiration.
At the same time,
but it's a whole different thing entirely for like another
company
show
to
out,
market
maybe, like,
their
2
own
seasons.
product, sort of thing.
Yeah, like, I mean, if something came out 2 seasons from now that was like 3 high school girls do anime, I'm like, okay, there's a very fucking high bar being set here.
At the same time, what I mean is, this show, literally the entire thing is about how you have especially with our main character, Midori, is just so inspired by previous works that she wants to set out and do something else. And I feel like that's kind of the message to the anime industry that this is trying to say.
Are you more saying that like this should be an inspiration for specifically how animation should be perceived as an artistic medium, as opposed to this is something that people should take inspiration from when designing a new plot for an anime?
The former, not the latter.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, that makes more sense now.
Yeah,
that's
my idea.
I didn't really get that impression when you were talking about it.
I was attempting to say the spirit of what this anime is doing. Like, this anime should be a standard for future anime, but then on top of that, the spirit of what this is trying to say is exactly what people should take out of this, and exactly what people should put into newer projects. Don't be.
Yeah, I mean, like, it would be delightful if that was always a plausible thing, but if anyone, having watched anything from the anime industry at all, knows anything about this industry, that's unfortunately not super feasible.
Right, that's...
I mean, realistically speaking, what they do...
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, what they do in Eizouken is not super feasible. That's part of what this whole show is about.
But they work within
because
those
they're met with... they're met consistently with obstacles of some kind. And I mean, you know, I cannot even begin to imagine what it must be like actually working in the anime industry. I cannot imagine it as anything other than maybe one of the most stressful jobs. Like, period.
I mean, given how little they're actually paid. Yeah.
Yeah. But
yeah, no. I this is such like a sacred anime to me going forward.
Sacred anime.
Sacred.
Yeah. No, I
so
say that very specifically because like so many of the things that it does and so many of the reasons why it does it are just so incredible that I would hope that other people take notice of this anime going forward.
Hell yeah, dude.
I mean, yeah, I would definitely want, like, I think everybody needs to watch Eizouken. Like,
yes.
Mm-hmm. I think it just does so many things that is, it not only is it a great work, but it, as you said, it has a great spirit behind it as well. And if people just watched it and gained something like that from it, then, I mean, more power to them. That's good. I mean, I hope a lot of anime in general can do that, but I hope this show in particular outlines it in a good way.
Yeah. It's delightful to see a show that is passionate about its passion.
Yes.
And to kind of try to project that out there.
Mm-hmm.
Also,
it's so refreshing.
Also, it is immensely refreshing to have a show where there is just such a genuine, like, extravagant group of people with various different body types and ethnicities and various other things included in the show. Like, that's fucking sick, dude.
Oh yeah, it's cool as shit.
Yeah.
It has such a, like, the whole school space is one of the most fucking wacky, varied, wild ecosystems I've ever seen in a series.
Yeah, but even among,
and it
like,
is
Kanamori,
always so cool to
Mizusaki,
watch.
and Midori, like, they're just so different from each other body type wise. But then you also add into the mix, like, Domeki in charge of the sound, and she, as a sound guy, she fucking spoke to me. Throughout this entire thing, her entire scene, we're like, well, we just have these sound effects for the project, and then it's literally the same exact walking sound for every single texture in every single, like, area, and she literally just pukes. I'm just like,
shit hurted.
I understand.
Yeah. I was watching that and I was like, is this what it's like to be Kyle?
Yes, it really is, though.
Yeah, I kind of thought that too.
Yeah. Oh, man. So, we hit some pretty good shit this season.
Hell yeah.
What are, like, are there any other shows you guys would, like, want to plug for this season?
Absolutely.
Like, because I think we've really hit a lot of the major ones, but there's still a couple that I'd like to, like, just, talk very briefly about.
I already brought it up once, so do you want me to dissect into the reasons why BOFURI is very similar to Darwin's game?
Yeah, can you please talk about when our sweet little shield gremlin brings out a light machine gun and just kills people?
Well, it's not.
Yeah,
I need to
I'm
know.
wondering about this.
It's not necessarily a light machine gun; it's a light laser gun.
Okay. Okay.
So the bullets aren't there, but the lasers are, and it's basically the same thing.
Doesn't she have a shield?
Yeah.
I thought she has a shield. Where's the gun come in?
Well, that's an interesting story. So, turns out...
Oh my god.
The wonderful thing about BOFURI is it's one of those series in which even the devs within the story of the game are scrambling. And they're like, why the fuck does this person keep breaking our game? And they're constantly patching shit. And after a certain point, half of the dev team just says, you know what? Fuck it. Just let her do whatever. I'm tired of fixing that shit. I'm tired of balancing. I just won't even fucking fix this game.
I feel like I played that game.
Yeah.
Because what ends up happening is that throughout the entire concurrence of this, I very much enjoyed that our main character is, her own individual personality. But all the people that she ends up becoming friends with and then eventually forming a clan with are all their own individual personalities as well. It's just... For instance, great example, whenever everybody else was busy doing one of the special events where, like, all the people are supposed to participate in it, our main character was just like, nah, that's okay, I'll explore. I kind of feel like exploring. Let me just explore. And so she ends up saving an angel, giving them angelic power, and then eating a demon.
I'm sorry, is this still BOFURI?
Yeah.
I watched 5 episodes of this show, but I don't remember this.
Yeah.
Wait, okay, but she ate a thing in the first episode though, didn't she?
But she stopped eating things.
Does this fucking dumbass just eat everything?
No, it was the only.
That's very good.
What ended up happening is she got the angelic power, and so this demon's like, "Oh, I'm gonna fucking kill you," and so it wasn't able to get past her shield, so it ate her. And she was like, well, I guess...
it ate her.
Yeah, and so she was like, well, I guess the only way out of here is to eat my way out, and then just fucking ate the demon. But then, let's just let that go and be like, okay, well, I mean, that was some weird level 1 and level 2 shit. I really have no idea how they're going to patch that. Let's go on and move on to level 3, where there's a whole entirely different area, and it's like, it's not cyberpunk, it's like steamwork, kind of. Steampunk, kind of.
Steamwork?
Steamwork.
Steamworks, Steamworks, the Valve thing.
Just Unlimited Steamworks.
There's also that. Yeah, no, there's this, like, steam-powered area where it's all of these mechanical machines, and there was like an old race of mechanical machines, but they died out because the new race took power, and everyone's like, oh, this will be interesting, let's explore the place, and like have a whole bunch of PvP, and it's really cool. Everybody finally has flying mounts in this game, which hadn't been introduced yet, except for BOFURI, who had a fucking flying turtle, just because. And so she goes in to this, and instead of doing whatever everybody else is doing, she accidentally just stumbles upon the old god of this world, who's like this clockwork kind of robot, and she consumes his clockwork, and so can now transform into the old clockwork god and just shoot laser beams.
So what you're telling me is basically, if you want to watch a show about some fucking dumbass that breaks a game by eating things, this is a show for you.
By the way, the fact that she ate the demon means that she can... No, sorry, it's not that. Later on, she finds basically the equivalent of the final boss in the current meta of the game, and she now can transform into that character once per day.
So basically,
if you want to watch a character break a game...
MMOs.
But the most interesting thing is that as broken as she is, surprisingly, a lot of the other guilds that she has to go against are still able to give her a run for her money. And that's one of the interesting things about this. She only does any of this because, once again, it's her first time playing an MMO. She really doesn't want to get hurt. So she keeps doing things in order to, everybody's playing this one, like, thing, and it's like a big battle royale. I'll just go ahead and quest for a little bit. And then she suddenly comes up with an angel and a demon. Like, it's such a wonderful story about absolute MMO bullshit. That, like, if you've ever played an MMO and you, like, wanted to see what one was broken, it's so good for that. But then on top of that, you also get a lot of those, like, really heartfelt moments where, like, she just randomly reaches out and starts a chat with a couple of characters, and all of a sudden they join her clan, and they're, like, really cool, and you support them, and you get to see them, like, level up with the clan.
Hell yeah.
It's such a feel-good show. It's
SAO, but it's good.
It's SAO, but it's good. The character is horribly overpowered for no fucking reason. But it's... but you don't care, because she's just this really nice girl that doesn't want to try and hurt anybody. It's just... She wants to enjoy the game.
And eat things.
Love that.
I am surprised that she came into this individual where she was just like, I don't know what to do, so I guess I'll just eat it because it gives me health back. And then she's like, oh, I guess I can just keep eating things. And then that just became part of her shtick.
That's just so good. Like...
Oh, go ahead.
I was just thinking, like... I don't know. That's just good.
There's a moment towards the end of the show, because you have all these other characters surrounding her that end up getting roped into her adventures. And so they end up with powers they probably were not supposed to have given their level. And after a certain point, two of the characters in her clan are like doing something, and they're like, what the fuck happened? What has become of us? Who are we? They're like, this is not supposed to be the case for this game. It's just such a wonderful delight of a show. It's very comfy, but it also has a lot of really genuinely good action, like well animated action scenes for a show that's really just this cutesy, comfy show. And then
about some dumbass that eats shit.
And then on top of that, like, once you start getting in towards the last, maybe like 5 or 6 episodes, like the last half, it starts to get into a lot of that, like, weird MMO strategy and planning thing that you might enjoy if you've ever done, like, PvP with a large clan or something like that.
Okay.
It's good. It's real good.
You know, speaking about a show where some dumbass ate stuff and became really overpowered, Spectre is really, really good.
Holy shit, it's
and
good.
is maybe one of my favorite. God damn. Like, see, this is the thing. Like, I can't rate shows as my favorite of the season anymore, especially not with this season, because it's so goddamn hard. But Inspector started as a really fun show about what seemed like it might be a monster of the week with our main character Kuro, who ate 2 different mythical creatures, a mermaid and something else. I don't remember what the fuck else the other thing is.
It's something...
But basically,
it's
like, yeah, it's explained, but he basically gets the powers where he can't die, but when he dies, he can kind of manipulate the future a little bit. And that's a very cool power. And so him teaming up with his tiny vindictive girlfriend Kodako.
Tiny vindictive horny girlfriend.
Extraordinarily horny. Like distressingly horny.
Extraordinary horny.
Like extraordinary. Yes, there we go. Moving from like a very, seemingly normal monster of the week thing to having, okay, well, now we're going to have a 9-episode arc through to the end of the season where we're basically going to try to disprove a creepypasta that turned into a monster spirit. And I'm like, you've got me there. I'm here for it.
You have my attention. Yeah.
Inspector does so many things just perfectly right. Like, for instance, its sound design and music.
Ooh.
Man, it's really good.
Oh, yeah.
I think the best way that I can recommend this and, like, just kind of keep this brief is if you're at all a fan of, surprisingly, the Ace Attorney series, the characters, the process of trying to prove and disprove different theories of logic and different explanations for this urban legend of Steel Lady Nanase, which is a big titty ghost idol that kills people with a steel beam. Coolest plot in a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Really fucking dumb. Love it to death. But this show works in such a way that, like, it blends the occult, but also just, like, mystery and deduction, but also having a large plot point being, how can we convince a bunch of 4chaners that this story is correct? It's delightful. It's a lot of fun. If you don't like wordy stuff, this is not the show for you, because there are 3 consecutive episodes that are just talking in the same space without a whole lot else going on.
Yeah, at that point,
so if that's not your dig,
very monogatari.
Don't do it.
Yeah, but it also makes sense given the story, just because Iwa oh my gosh, Naga is the goddess of wisdom, and so, like, literally she's like, I'm gonna lay you down some fucking wisdom right now.
And she's also like, Kuro, I'm gonna lay you down and fuck. Or she'd like
literally within the same sentence, she would, though.
Yeah.
I also appreciate that like, once we start getting into that whole section of, like, how we're gonna defeat a creepypasta, our main character shifts between Sakuragawa and Iwanaga to Yumihara, the detective who's just kind of a normal human being and is kind of thrown into this.
Why do you use all their last names? That's so fucking weird.
Because
they hardly ever use those names.
I know, but, like, Japan, the whole, like, respectful thing. I don't know them personally. I don't know, man. Fuck off.
It's an anime.
It sounded like you just read the names in the wrong order.
No, that wasn't. Yeah, fuck off.
You full fucking weave.
That definitely happened. Okay.
Ignore this.
Kuro,
anyway.
Kuro, Kodako, and Saki are a great dynamic trio.
Yeah.
They're a delightful mess together.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have a lot to say about the show because it's one of those things that, like, you're gonna like it or you're gonna not like it, and you kind of have to watch it to see whether or not it's something you're gonna like. But this was so entirely my shit.
Yes.
I cannot even begin to describe it to you. I took the fucking, like, the commercial break little jingle, and I ripped it, and I made it my fucking ringtone.
Dude.
Like,
wow.
You gotta share that with me.
This shit's so good. The music, best OP of the season. I'm not fucking kidding.
Also,
it's my favorite OP of the season.
Not gonna lie, best fucking ED possibly of the season.
God.
It's like if you took the, like, theme from Beastars and just made it so fucking jazzy.
Yeah.
Wait, hold on.
But
Zach, did you just say it's the best OP of the season?
It's good.
yeah, it's my favorite OP of the season.
It's really good.
Okay, because
Now, granted, let me go ahead and say that Eizouken's OP is just hands down my OP of the season. But
Eizouken does have a good OP.
I'm just thinking here. Like, we went over Eizouken and we went over Hanako-kun, and now we're going over Inspector, and they all have like 3 really good openings. So
They do.
Not saying that you can't. You only have to pick one, but
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Like,
we all have our different tastes, Matt.
it's for me. It's either got to be id's OP, Inspector's OP, or Hanako-kun's. Like, Easy Breezy's fine and all that jazz. I like it. I respect it.
Yo, fuck off.
But
go on.
For my personal shit, those 3 hit so goddamn hard. Speaking of id invaded, do you want to talk about it?
I mean, we're here. I mean, we can't
We're
leave.
here.
We literally can't
That was
leave.
a hell of a transition, but yeah, sure. That was real quick. Okay.
What do you all want to do exactly? Can we take like a 5-minute intermission to get to it? Like,
Yeah, let's
what
just
what
go
train
ahead and
station
put
stop do we need to
the
do?
put the song that is the intermission song from Monty Python in here, and we'll just go ahead and do that.
Yeah. Can we do that while we go
This
to
is the
like
intermission
our
song.
yeah? Can we go to like our sponsors for the week?
Yeah.
Can we do like our MeUndies ad?
All right. So what's
Like-
up with Invaded? Because I actually really don't know a lot about Invaded.
Did you really not watch It Invaded?
I didn't. I told you I only kept up with like 7 anime.
God damn, dude. It Invaded's so fucking good. This is... I keep saying, like, surprise of the season, but holy fucking shit, It Invaded is so goddamn good, and I see so few people talk about it. It is criminally underrated.
I only watched like half of it, because mostly there's just so many shows of the season. But
I know.
man,
Spring went hard.
this is winter.
Quarantine. Time has no meaning.
Okay,
It's true.
Uh-huh.
though.
okay. But anyway,
I
what
lost
makes
all
It
sense
Invaded
of
so
purpose.
cool? What have I missed? Go.
So what did you like about it from the 6 episodes you watched?
I honestly liked the like, if I had to pin down like one quality, I guess it would be just the I like the system, like the crime like detection system that was in place. The criminal, I don't want to call it criminal justice, but it was like, I don't know, I just like the way that they discovered and investigated these mysteries and the way that they would unfold, and kind of, I guess, in the similar vein as like some of the first episodes of Jewel of Richard, we learn more about these people, like as we uncover more stuff about them in a a criminalistic sort of investigative way.
Yeah, it's a very unique approach to a crime detective thriller show, in that it's all about kind of investigating crimes from the perspective of like the intent to kill or the subconscious of the killer, as opposed to hunting the killer in and of themselves.
Right.
Normally the kind of formula for this is we find the killer and then find out why they're doing it. But It Invaded kind of does it in reverse through their weird like Mizuhaname system, where they kind of look to get I think they are called it's something particles. Like there are particles left in the air, cognition particles, where they kind of pick up serial murderer's intent to kill and kind of go from there. They find out why they're doing it, and then they can use that to track down the killer. It's a cool reversal of the system.
Yeah.
I don't know why the characters look the way they do. The art style is very unique, I think. I wonder if any of them have seen what a human being actually looks like. But I like it, all jokes aside. I guess you kind of hit it on the head there. The reason to watch this is like, if you've watched any kind of future crime procedural sort of thing, like Psycho-Pass or anything else in recent memory, you would probably like It Invaded, just because of the unique way it approaches hunting serial killers, and, you know, it's, as you said, Matt, it's criminal justice system.
Mm-hmm.
I do...
And goddamn, it has the best music this season.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, I'm not going to say it has the best OP or ED, though it's ED is a fucking banger.
But the actual, like, OST for this is fucking badass.
Oh my god, dude. Bar none, hands down.
Yeah.
Best of the season.
I really wanted to give it a shot because I really do like cyberpunk shit. So, like, It Invaded really interested me, but I just didn't get a chance, and I feel bad about that now.
Yeah, it's less cyberpunk and it's more just kind of a cerebral crime thriller.
Yeah, but
with
I mean,
some sci-fi elements to it.
There's a whole like subsection of cyberpunk that's kind of like that. So
sure, yeah, that's fair. But man, it's fucking good. Incidentally, I watched the dub for it, and oh my god, it has a killer dub.
Really?
Oofa doofa. Yeah. Funimation's on their shit with a lot of their simul-dubs. Like, no joke. Really good shit. I can't imagine watching the sub with the English voice cast they put together. So
interesting. I didn't watch the dub at all.
Yeah, I didn't figure. But if you're at all into dubs, check it out. Is there anything else we want to hit on from this season?
Matt, yeah, you got anything?
Yeah, I want to talk about if you know, Budokan title thing. I forgot the title.
If my favorite pop idol made it to the Budokan, I would die.
Yes, because that's completely on brand.
I absolutely need to finish this show. I really do.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
And it is 100% your brand.
Yeah.
Actually, I've made some statements throughout this podcast. I do have to renege them just a little bit. Clover Wish is the best OP of the season.
Oh my gosh, every OP is good. What do you do? No, Clover Wish is a good opening though. I really like it. It's very catchy. You hear it once and it's like stuck in your head like all day. It's
it is.
It's like something I could imagine, like if you're on the treadmill, you listen to it, sort of thing.
I did. Yeah.
Yeah. See, there you
I
go.
do frequently.
Proof. I didn't even know that. But honestly, like, Budokan is like, it's like everything I've wanted out of an idol show that's not about idols. Like, if you're going, like, I know we talked about this before, but if you're talking about appreciating, like, just the, like, idol, like, I guess the easiest way to explain it is the genuity of the idol culture. If you're trying to appreciate it, like, for its, you know, like, what it's, I don't want to say what it's actually like, because I never have been around, like, that stuff in Japan, so I have no idea. But I think this is a realistic expectation of what it's actually like, right? Because it's very grounded. I guess is maybe what I'm looking for, because there's a lot of characters that are just fans. They're there because they want to see the people on stage. And they want to see them, they want to see them perform. They appreciate what they do as like a career, or like even just beginning their career in this case, and it's just they want to see them succeed. And I mean, that's what I feel like the core of this show. That's what's here. Because we have our main character that just wants to, appreciate that. So it's really nice seeing that just throughout the show, that she continues to like just realizes like, wow, I really just, I don't know. It brought me joy just seeing Arapio and Mina just like have this understanding, or this, I guess, kind of understanding between each other.
Yeah, let's not get ahead of ourselves here. There's a lot of misunderstanding in this show. We have two fucking dumbasses at the helm.
Yeah. But I I just like how they try to understand each other. Maybe
Yes.
there's definitely some back and forth there that even though it doesn't come all the way through, you can tell as a viewer at least that wow, they really appreciate each other, and it's nice to watch. It's honestly like there's not a lot of like really hard hitting feelings. It's just nice to watch, and it just I just like the atmosphere of it. Honestly,
it has very good energy to it. Yeah, to kind of bounce off of what you said, I would argue that it does have a lot of hard-hitting feelings, but it's a lot of like, oh my god, my heart, kind of stuff going on.
Yeah.
Because, oh my god, of all the shows this season, this one probably made me almost cry, or cry the most. Oh man, this is such a heartfelt show. And it's kind of a hilarious thing for me to say for an idol show. Not that they're not capable of that, but I've watched so many idol shows that are like so saccharine and sugary sweet about how they approach like everything that I'm almost jaded to them at this point. And so Budokan is such a breath of fresh air in this genre to me. And like I know I'm not someone that watches idol shows frequently, but it, again, for reasons I just discussed, there's kind of a reason for that. So it's so nice to see, kind of like Matt, as you said, it's nice to watch an idol show that's not just about like, we're idols, we're gonna follow our dreams and power of friendship our way through everything. It's nice to kind of look at it from a perspective of, it is zoomed out, and it's not focused just on the idols themselves, but it's focused on like the ecosystem surrounding idols, of fans, of supporters, of everything else, and of a lot of the nitty-gritty that goes into the idol industry, like, merch sales, handshake booths, like how they push a lot of their merch and everything else.
Advertising.
And
there was that whole arc about popularity that was a big deal.
And it's so interesting to see how a lot of these things work, but it's also really nice to see a lot of these maybe pitfalls of idol culture be discussed, like how some fans can go way too hard into this. Yeah. And on the flip side, it's nice to also see a lot of fans, even though they're very passionate, be more reserved and healthy in their relationship with their idols. Like Kumasa's a god among men. Kumasa is the best there is, and we can all only hope to, be in his shoes and to kiss the ground that he walks on. Even Eripio, like, she's batshit insane about Mina, but even then, I mean, like, you see her saying stuff like, oh, well, okay, I just gotta remember, your fave is not your friend. She is still an idol. She is still a public figure. You're not going to have this kind of personal relationship with them, even though her and Mina kind of do cultivate. That's delightful. But yeah, Budokan is fucking great. It was easily one of my favorites this season. I don't think there was a single week where I didn't watch this show the day the episode dropped.
Yeah.
I looked forward to it every fucking week.
Yeah, I definitely say that this is one I kept up with the whole time, and I was like, wow, I just want to watch it every week because it's nice, and it's just got a lot of aspects that I like, and it felt right, I guess.
Yes. It felt very genuine.
Yeah. So I was really nice to see that. I'm glad it didn't go too hard into any of the aspects of any of that stuff.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Like, I just really liked that. Like, because, I mean, we've already talked about a whole bunch of shows that have hit so hard. I can't even imagine if we had another show that did that.
Yeah.
This one, I'm glad it just said what it needed to. And I honestly wish it gets a second season, even though it probably won't. I want to read the manga. I don't even know. Maybe it's a light novel. Don't even know. I just was enjoying the anime as it was.
It's a manga.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yep. It's so good. I agree with you. I would watch as much of this as comes out. God, it's so good.
So good.
This was my feel good show of the season.
It really was.
Like, this was my comfy show.
Me too.
Oh, man. What a fucking killer season.
Honestly, yeah, like this season is really fucking good.
Winter 2020 kicked me in the dick, and I said thank you.
Oh my god. I don't know if you should say that. I honestly don't know if you should say that.
Winter 2020 sent a lot of gifts to my house, even though I didn't ask for them, but I still love them anyways.
Yeah. Same.
Okay, so that one's more comfortable. That one's okay to say.
I felt like
That one,
I felt like I could
okay.
agree to that one and feel okay with myself.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Winter's
my
good.
God.
Winter's always good, guys. Winter's always
It is.
good.
It's consistent.
Just
true,
remember
yeah.
that.
It's a pretty
Yeah.
consistent thing.
I just I've started watching stuff from spring 2020, and I'm digging a lot of the shit that's coming out, but I still find myself thinking about a lot of these shows that I just recently finished from winter.
I mean, honestly,
And
I feel like over the course of like the past few years that we have done this podcast, I feel like each time that we go through a season, we're starting to get amazed by like the quality that comes out of each one.
Yeah, I think
I mean,
we're
there's-
always like coming off of each season. I feel like we're apprehensive, and then I feel like once we get into it, we're gonna be like, "Oh, dude, look at all these shows that are so good."
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, right? It's kind of always like, is this the season where anime is going to be bad again?
But then it doesn't, and we're like, okay, great. Oh, that makes me feel so good.
Yeah, and that's the miracle.
Yeah, it's always just a question of quantity, not necessarily always of quality.
That's
Yeah.
true.
Per se.
For a
It's true.
season, yes, but yeah, for things that will actually matter as far as things go, like 10 years from now, I feel like quality has something to do with that.
We'll see.
Well, I guess we'll catch
See
everybody
y'all in 10
for the-
years.
Yeah.
Bye.
That's the next podcast.
Yeah,
Bye bye.
Our next cast will be in the decade reunion. Hope y'all are still around on our feet for that.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening. As always, you can find all our podcast, articles, videos, etc. at thebacklogers.com. Our intro-outro song is The Bear by Shell in the Pit, who you can find on Spotify as well as Bandcamp. Our two intermission songs were Alligator Crawl by Fats Waller, arranged for Monty Python, and Matt's own personal intermission song he thought up on the fly. And we'd love to hear from y'all either in the comments on our site or any feedback you want to leave us on whatever podcast platform you like. iTunes, SoundCloud, or whatever we're still on in a decade when you see us next. It's still April Fool's after the 1st, right? And as always, we're on Twitter at _Backloggers, so pull up a sin log and stop by for a bit. See you later.